What's going on, everybody? Marley Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. Today we are looking at The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 56. This issue came out in January of 1968. And as we look on the cover today, we see Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus teaming up together for the first time. Oh my goodness, why has Spider-Man joined Dr. Octopus? Has Spider-Man become a criminal? We're going to find all this out right here in this story, so don't click away. And before we get started, go ahead and if you have not, go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and let's go ahead and get started. Today's title is Disaster. That's right, it's a very big disaster when Spider-Man has lost his identity. We recall from the last few issues, Spider-Man has been after Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus has been after this nullifier, and so this will conclude this part right here. This is the fourth part in this storyline here. And so what is going to happen here with Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus in this concluding storyline here in issue number 56? As always, this is brought to you by Smiling Stan Lee, who wrote this issue. We have John Romita doing the penciling. We have the inking by Mickey DeMeo and lettering by Sam Rosen. So let's go ahead and dive on into today's story. So we recall from last issue that this nullifier had allowed Dr. Octopus to defeat Spider-Man, and it also caused Spider-Man to lose his memory. And so now Dr. Octopus has tricked Spider-Man into working with him. And so now Spider-Man is trying his best to remember who he is. I mean, he knows that he is Spider-Man, but he doesn't even know that he's Peter Parker. He doesn't know anything about his civilian identity. He doesn't know anything. And so now Dr. Octopus and his henchmen are trying to get away in this vehicle here that they were in last issue. And they are now on the search for the second part of this nullifier. They see a police car coming by, and we have the henchman here. He's like, what do you want me to do? Do you want Spider-Man to tackle him? And then Dr. Octopus is like, well, why bother when I have one of the most potent weapons in the world? And so if you don't remember what this weapon does, it basically causes all mechanical things to shut down. And so when Dr. Octopus points this nullifier at the police car, it causes the engine to stall. And so now the police cannot go after Dr. Octopus and his henchmen, and now they are getting away, and they are stopped cold in their tracks. And Spider-Man's like, wow, that is something else. He doesn't know anything about this nullifier. Again, Spider-Man has lost his memory. And then one thing we need to make sure we notice here, and that is that the nullifier starts to overheat, and it's the isotopical element, and that's the reason why this nullifier was sent to Tony Stark's factory, because Tony Stark was going to work on it to fix it. But now they don't have that option, as they've been escaping from Tony Stark's facility, so Dr. Octopus is going to have to find the formula of how he's going to have to fix this nullifier, because this nullifier will help him set up his master crime wave that he just wants to pretty much rule the world. And this is the first step, is by controlling this nullifier. So they make it to their hideout here, and Spider-Man still is like, why am I feeling in my own body that I just don't trust Dr. Octopus? There's something in me that is telling me that Dr. Octopus is my mortal enemy, but he's told me that I'm his partner, and so I got to trust him. And we know that as Spider-Man fans, that is the Spider-Man spider sense. His spider sense is telling him that Dr. Octopus is an enemy, but Dr. Octopus, of course, has tricked Spider-Man into believing that he is his partner. Now, Spider-Man starts to ask some questions. Dr. Octopus is not liking it. And Dr. Octopus is like, remove your mask so I can see who you really are. Spider-Man begins to take off the mask when all of a sudden he's like, you know what? Forget about it. And then Spider-Man's like, you're not going to boss me around. And so here we go. We see Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus begin to just fight right here. And Dr. Octopus is like, I gotta figure out how to stop Spider-Man. I thought I could control him, but still it seems that he's not trusting me all the way. And so Spider-Man's like, Dr. Octopus is like, stop, you fool, stop. I was just testing you to see if you're gonna work for me, and I was just testing you. And so Spider-Man here is like, well, I still don't know, but I guess you're right. I'll have to go along with you until I figure things out. And so Dr. Octopus is like, good, good. And so we see that Dr. Octopus wants Spider-Man to go get this isotope 16. And it's being kept under guard 24 hours. And it's at this Fort Tyson. That's the route, Fort Tyson. So Dr. Octopus has his map here. He gives the map to Spider-Man so that Spider-Man knows where the isotope 16 is at. So now Spider-Man is sent on a mission by Dr. Octopus to get this isotope 16. We also see that Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn are on the search of Peter Parker. They haven't seen Peter Parker for days. They go to Aunt May's house, and that's a bad move. Or it was Anna Watson's house, as we know that Aunt May is living with Anna Watson. And they're asking where Peter Parker's at, and Aunt May hasn't seen her. We see that it's made the news that Spider-Man has joined Dr. Octopus as Mary Jane Watson comes on by the house as well. And Gwen's like, have you seen Peter? And of course, MJ's like, no, I haven't seen her. And so everybody's starting to get very worried here. Now let's cut to, we have Colonel John Jameson here. He's put in charge of guarding the nullifier here, as well as stopping Dr. Octopus. And he has some of the top leaders in New York to figure out how they're going to stop Dr. Octopus. One of those men, as we come to find out, is this man right here. His name is George Stacy, Captain Stacy. And if you know the last name Stacy, yes, he is related to Gwen Stacy. He is actually the father of Gwen Stacy. So we see that Captain Stacy makes his first appearance in this issue. And so we have Gwen Stacy very concerned. She doesn't know where Peter Parker's at. So we could see right here that Gwen Stacy does have some feelings towards Peter Parker. Now let's see where Spider-Man's at in this, his mission to get the isotopic 16. He uses the map here, and of course this is a very heavily guarded place, so Spider-Man is going to have to act very cunningly to steal this device that Dr. Octopus wants. So we see that Spider-Man rips open a part of the ventilation here. He's going to go through the vents. He locates where the isotopic 16 is at, breaks through, and of course we see that the guards are alerted that Spider-Man is on the premise, and so the guards are sent to stop Spider-Man. Spider-Man webs up their guns. Again, he is trying to get out of harm's way. He still doesn't know what the heck he's doing, but at least he has some memory of how to use his web shooters as well as his spider-like ability. And upon leaving the premises, he leaves the map, and that map will play into big detail later when the army tracks down Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus. And so Spider-Man's like, you know what, I could have webbed up that map, but I left it behind and something was telling me I needed to. So we see that Colonel John Jameson comes on by. He's like, I'm afraid that we couldn't stop Spider-Man, but we have this as our best next thing, and this map will help us locate Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus. So now they know exactly where to locate Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man based on that map. We see that back at the Daily Bugle, J. Jonah Jameson is wondering all about what his son is up to, and of course his son can't tell anybody exactly what the heck is going on, and of course no one knows where Peter Parker is at so that he could be sent on a photo assignment. We see that Spider-Man returns with what Dr. Octopus wanted. Dr. Octopus is very pleased, but then one of his henchmen notices that Spider-Man did not bring back the map. So now Dr. Octopus is just starting to panic here, as he knows that that map will lead the army to their location. So here we go, Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus are going to duel it out right here. He's like, I've used you, and now I don't need you anymore, so I have no use for you, so now it's time for me to dispose of you quickly. So Dr. Octopus is going to try his best to strangle Spider-Man here with his tentacles. Spider-Man puts up a valiant fight against Dr. Octopus, and then all of a sudden, one of his henchmen notices that there's an engine getting louder outside, and of course that is the Army. The Army has located Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man. The Army pretty much takes over and pretty much arrests all of Dr. Octopus's henchmen. So his henchmen are useless here. Smoke grenades are thrown into the window, into the room. Dr. Octopus uses his tentacles here to pretty much dispel the smoke. And we see that John Jameson here notices that Spider-Man is just sitting there, not really helping Dr. Octopus. So John Jameson instinctively knows that there's something up with Spider-Man. He's not acting normal. And so Spider-Man here, he has a chance to help Dr. Octopus. And Dr. Octopus is like, get him, get the nullifier, stop him right now. And he said, that's it, grab the nullifier. They can't stop you. And then Spider-Man's like, you know what, I don't know how I got mixed up in all this, but I'm no partner of his. So here we go. We have Dr. Octopus captured here as the nullifier was used against his tentacles here. The tentacles are taken off of Dr. Octopus, so now Dr. Octopus is helpless. We have John Jameson here. He's like, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to take you into custody. But Spider-Man gets away, and now we have Spider-Man here still suffering from amnesia, doesn't know who he is. He takes off his mask. He still doesn't know who he is. So now we go into next issue with a Spider-Man that doesn't even know who he is. And he's going to come up against Kazar in next issue. So that'll be very interesting as we see Spider-Man and Kazar in issue number 57. So I hope to see you there. And until next time, keep reading comics.